It's a bit overwhelming, if I'm going to be totally honest.
My name's Hilary Bettis, and I'm a playwright. You know, the process with developing a new play is, you sort of get this idea that you're really passionate about, and this thing that you have to talk about, which is why you write a play in the first place. And then you just kind of let your subconscious go wild and vomit something out on the page. And then the development process really becomes about trying to understand the story that you're really trying to tell as a writer, and why you're trying to tell this story, and who your audience is. And so I've had multiple readings and workshops and worked with a lot of different actors in all of these roles and a lot of different directors, really refining the text and really trying to understand what is at the heart and soul of this story. So there's two different theaters that are in rehearsal for this play right now, with two different directors, two different casts. And I've been flying from one city to the other, and literally being in one rehearsal all week, getting on an airplane and showing up for an entirely different rehearsal the very next day. I think a really rare situation for a play to be in, and different actors bring such different interpretations to these roles, and so I've been learning so much about the play just by having the opportunity to watch this process simultaneously and be really involved with this process simultaneously, and really try to understand what seems to work and what seems to maybe not be working, and how you find ways to articulate that to completely different rooms of people that need something entirely different from the writer when you're there rehearsing. It's also really helped me, I think, go a lot deeper into the script and really understand what my intention is in writing the script behind these characters.
Every play I write, the process is really, really different. But with this particular play, I really just started with kind of obsessive amounts of research and reading everything I could get my hands on, and reaching out to cousins that I have that are still in Mexico, and I have a lot of cousins that live on the border in El Paso, Texas as well, and people that I'd never really talked to before that are from my grandfather's side of the family, and started to get kind of a picture of what our family history was, why they came to the United States, what parts of Mexico they'd come from. So I think that the play sort of started with trying to have a cultural understanding of my own roots, and really root it in authenticity, because I really deeply believe that if you're going to write about something that's outside of your own life experience, the people who see that need to say, yes, that is my story. Yes, that is authentic. Yes, you've done you've done your job. You've done your homework as a writer. So it's really talking to people, really absorbing as many news articles as possible was sort of the beginning process of this play. And then after that, this was something that had sat in my mind for years. And then my first year, I had a fellowship at Juilliard that I just finished this past May. And my first year, the very first play I wrote was this play, and I basically had 6 weeks to write a brand new play and bring something in. So I sort of just threw away everything that I had, all of the research and everything that had been floating around in my brain, and just vomited out this play to see what my subconscious had absorbed and really find the heart and soul of the story that I wanted to tell. And then from there, I started workshopping and developing and shaping the script. So this script now that's being produced at Borderlands, The Unicorn, in Kansas City and Cleveland Public is a culmination of 3.5 years of workshops and development all across the country, and working with a lot of different actors and directors and different theaters, and exposing it to different audiences across the United States. The playwright-director relationship is such a it's really like a marriage, honestly. It's, you date a lot of people and then you sort of find the people that you click with. And in the best case scenarios, you are both just like mentally, emotionally, spiritually, artistically on the same page. And, but when that doesn't happen in a lot of cases, it really forces me as the writer to have to very decisively articulate what exactly I am trying to do with this play to actors, designers, directors, to your whole team of people, in a way that I think when you're really in sync with a director, you sort of take a back seat and trust that they're able to have those conversations and keep the play on track. My favorite part of the process of making a play, honestly, is being in a room with other collaborators, with other artists. I mean, one of the things that made me really fall in love with theater, I mean, I love film and I love TV. I love storytelling in general. Being a writer is like my life passion, my existence, the thing that literally saved my life. But theater is really about people, and it's about community. You're sharing a story with a real live audience that's in the same room with you. You're working with real living actors and directors and designers, and a play on the page is really just a blueprint for building something in a live three-dimensional space. So it's really like everything you write is really theory until you have the opportunity to get it in a room with other people. And I love, 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 love being in a room with smart directors and smart actors who bring their own passion and their own talent and their own voice to the work. And then suddenly it becomes this really magical experience when everybody is in sync building this thing together, and everybody can bring in their own talents and their own creativity and show you as the writer all kinds of layers and things that you had no idea were in the text. And I mean, it's magical. It's really magical. So I think the thing I love most really about making theater is the collaborative nature of it. The thing that I think is most frustrating about plays in general, I have, I guess, a love-hate relationship with the actual writing process. I mean, the writing process tends to be a lot of hours spent staring at a blank page and feeling like you're never going to write a word again, and, not bathing for a week and forgetting to eat for a week, and having weird long conversations with your cat because you've been locked up in a room by yourself and you start to lose track of time, and also that there are other people. So I think that that part of the process is really frustrating, but when you finally find the story that you're trying to tell and it comes pouring out of you, that part of the process is amazing. Writing has been this thing that I did my whole life, I think really to survive more than anything else. But it was never this thing that I realized people did as a living. I never thought about being a writer when I was growing up. I guess the moment that I sort of realized I was a playwright was when I wrote this really kind of messy, all over the place monologue, and I showed it to a theater director, Gene Frankel, who I was taking an acting class from at the time, and he's sort of been this legend in the theater, and came up during the group theater and worked with Harold Clurman and had worked with Jean Genet, and so he really had this incredible understanding of the theater, and he was the first person that really told me I needed to be a playwright, and he made me come over to his apartment every week for writing lessons up until he passed away. And he was the first person that sort of taught me the bare bones of what it meant to write a play. And so after that I wrote my first play and kind of threw it out to the universe, and this trajectory of being a playwright has just kind of taken on a life of its own, and really since that moment. I passionately love and believe in every play that I write and every character that I write. They always come from a place of deep empathy and love for me. I couldn't write them if I didn't love them. But as my own life happens and I have more experience in this world and more time on this planet, I am always looking back on scripts that I write and thinking, oh God, I wish I had known this now. I wish I had known then what I know now, or, I was totally wrong about this. And I think that that's just sort of par for the course, and that you have to, Marsha Norman said that our job as writers was to get our body of work out before we die. And so you always have to make this decision that, like, well, maybe I don't feel like this script is completely done, but I need to move on to something else now because I'm at a different point in my life with a different perspective. And this is the lens that I need to write through, as opposed to like going back and reworking the same scripts over and over from multiple lenses as you grow and change and learn more about the world and about, this experience, the actual technical production experience as well. By writing about people, I feel like we are too afraid to put on a stage, that we're too afraid to give a voice to. I tend to write about people who are in circumstances that in order to survive require them sometimes to do really terrible things. But it doesn't mean that they're terrible people, and it doesn't mean that they're not worthy of having a voice and having humanity in this world. So I tend to write from, I write a lot of like criminals and like working class people. I write, like, writing prostitutes is always a reoccurring theme in my work. Because I want to write the people that scare us the most in society. Because I think if we can really start to understand why they scare us and what they represent and see their humanity, then we can have a more nuanced understanding of ourselves and each other and the world that we live in.